It says I'm live. Well, I guess I'll have to be live. It's one of those things at the beginning of every live stream that you do, you don't know if you're live or not, and you're sort of looking around, trying to find out what's happening, what is going on. And most people will just be looking around the camera and the computer, trying to work it out. But I thought I'll be a little bit smarter than it and just start talking. And if it's not working, well, I've got nothing else to lose. So welcome again to 2018. This is the January edition. I'm Vache from Recording Studio 9. And if you have just joined in, thanks for joining in. And I'm trying to come live to you using my mobile phone, because all the cameras and webcams that I've been using to do live streaming, they are horrible. And I'm hoping that using my mobile phone, it streams better, it works better, and hopefully it's all good. So I'm just going to try to check, make sure that I am on and it's working. Looks like it is. So I'm just going to turn the voice on, so you might hear some feedback of me talking something earlier, to make sure that my voice is clear as well, because I'm using a tie clip mic for this one. I'm using a tie clip mic. Yeah, oh, well, that's a pretty good delay. Hardly any delay there, which is good. Hardly any delay there, which is good. Hardly any delay there. Okay, looks like everything is all good, except probably the light above me is sort of, could be a little bit distracting. Yeah, so I've got Christopher. Hello, Christopher, and says it's working fine. Thank you so much. I hope that my sound is good as well, because at the moment I've got my tie clip, which is the Rode tie clip mic. It's plugging directly into my mobile phone as well. So I've got no audio interface or anything else that I can actually use. So I thought I'll use this to have a quick chat. This time of the day, it is a Saturday here, so Friday night at a lot of other places. So I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot more people around. Looks like there is. So hello to Christopher and Andy Rock as well. So thanks for joining in. And Andy says sounds good and looks good as well. Yes, I really hated those, what do you call them, those webcams, even though they're supposed to be, 720p, which they are, and they need to be about 30 frames per second, but they have this horrible, glitches and things, so it's not smooth, it's not live. So I guess thanks to my mobile phone, it's nice and clear and smooth, with no blurry bits and things, because I do have, high-speed internet here. So it should be nice and clear. So what has been happening? Christopher, coming live from West Palm Beach, Florida, USA. Yes, down to the western side, western south. Yeah. How's things been for 2018 for you so far? Well, I hope that you guys can tell me what's been happening. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Obviously, anything with audio and music related. And I hope it'll be all good. If you have any questions about Studio One, if you have any questions about, I know a little bit about Reaper as well. I've been playing around with MAGIX Music Maker free, and I've been playing around with Pro Tools first as well. So, been busy playing around. So, what have you been up to? Have you been recording any music? Have you got any music planned for 2018? So, it should be really interesting. I've got few clients already lined up and ready to go. Actually from next Saturday, I'll be back busy again recording clients. So it'll be good. And Florida looks like it's cold. Well, over here, I'm more than happy to send you the heat. I should actually turn the aircon on in a few minutes because it's getting pretty hot. It's about 39 degrees outside Celsius. So it's scorching hot outside. It's bearable in here. I haven't turned the aircon on yet, but I might have to turn it on very soon. So we also have Watchman for you. Say hello. Hello, Watchman. Hope you're doing well as well. Last time I think I did a quick test live streaming and I think you missed out. Yes, Andy Rock says, how is your new drum kit going? Yes, the drum kit is making lots of noise. It's actually, let me twist it for you. And it's right there behind the curtains. You can see the symbols there. So obviously I have not done any recording yet with it, but I will soon. And there's one more video coming up which I'll have to edit later on today and it'll be uploaded, so you'll be able to see and finish off that part. You know, I thought I'll do an unboxing for the drum kit because I don't think there are that many, so you don't know what you're getting inside the box, because I didn't know what the hell I was getting inside the box. Every time I've been to the music shop, it's nicely all set up there and you can have a look at, and you know, with permission you could play it, but I'm not a drummer, so when you get the box and there's only 2 boxes, you go, wow, all that thing is fitting into these 2 boxes, and yeah, so you can see what's inside the box. I'm quite impressed and happy with Pearl, because it comes with sort of instruction how to go onto their website, and they have about 10 or 12 videos going each step of unpacking it and putting it all together, assembling it, and then assembling the skins, and then tuning it as well. To a certain degree, it's going to the tuning part as well. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the result, and it'll be a couple of days before I start tuning it again. I might have to actually buy a tuner as well. So yeah. Christopher says, so that's down in Florida, about 4 degrees Celsius. Yes, at another 32 here, 32, 33 here, or maybe even 34 here degrees, and that's how hot it is in here. And Watchman says, I'm in GA. Sorry, not sure where that is, and it's cold there as well. And yeah, I am down under. It's the other side of the planet. Ah, Georgia. Okay, Georgia. Yes. Thank you so much. So, guys, you can tell me what if you have any questions. Feel free to ask. Normally, my live streams that I get the chance to do is at the wrong time of the day on your side of the planet because of the time differences, and hardly anybody are on there. And this is a rare opportunity that I thought I'll come in here today and spend some time with you guys who sometimes get to miss out. Because even though there's few people that I get on my live streams when I do at the odd times for you, I get a lot of good questions, and I go into a lot of details explaining about those things, whether if it's recording or using microphones or audio interfaces or any tips on DAWs and so on. So there's a lot of information you guys might miss out, because most of my live streams I tend to not to archive them. They are normally there 1 or 2 days, and I do delete them because they're so long, for about an hour. And by analytics, I find out that not many people view it. So and you got to fast forward to the right bits. So that's why I tend to just delete them. So I tend to have the information on hand right now. So let's see. I think there's a couple more comments that I might have to have a look. And says, Watchman says, have you any finished projects that you have recorded and mixed in your new studio? Yes, I do. I'll show you in a minute. And Andy says, now you have completed your studio, is there anything you would have done differently? Okay, let's take one question at a time. Have I finished the project? Yes, I do have a finished project. The one I probably already mentioned in one of my videos, where I went to a church and I recorded a choir. And now that has been finished, I mixed and mastered it here. The choir director came into the studio and we went through all of the 7 songs. And because I had all multi-channels, I had about 4 tracks from each of the choir. We sat down and we automated, making sure that all the different parts of the choir singing a different parts of the song have been are adjusted accordingly. So we bring the volume down of the background vocals and the harmonies, and bring up the soloist up and then down and so on. So that worked out really well. We spent quite a few hours, I think about nearly 4 hours, just doing mixing and automation. And then I mastered it, and the CD is out as well. It's in one of the videos. I actually show you the CD on there, and it's been it's being sold already. Not sure if it's going to go on iTunes or Google Play or Spotify or those sort of things, because the whole idea for that was to have the CD and to sell it to all the members during the Christmas that just passed. I have been working on a couple of other clients as well who have come in and recorded it. Again, most of the songs are being released in digital format, so I don't really have the final on a CD as such. But if you visit my website, recordingstudio9.com, few of those projects which I have done and finished, recorded, mixed and mastered, are on my website, recordingstudio9.com, under my profiles, or portfolio, not profiles, portfolio, and you can actually get to see all the different clients. Not every single one of them, but majority of them I do put them with their permission, about their work, and some of them are being continued as well. So that's what's been happening. Andy says, now that you have completed your studio, since when a studio is complete? It's always changing. But yes, I guess I do have now acoustic drums. I do have bass guitars and a couple of bass guitars. I do have lots of acoustic and electric guitars here as well. I've got a couple of keyboards and synthesizers that you would have seen. I've got all the audio gears and everything else in here. I think very soon, even though I was planning to offload some of the audio interfaces and audio gears that I have, put them on Gumtree and sell them, and by now actually have PreSonus Studio Live 16 Series 3, which is a 16-channel audio interface for live or for studio purposes, as well as very soon we're going to have the DAW surface control option in there. Now that's supposed to happen in September. It hasn't happened yet because of a couple of bugs. Obviously, they need to make sure that those are fixed. So that might replace some of my audio interfaces, as well as my control surface. Because at the moment, I do have Excuse me guys for a moment. No, the telephone is ringing and I'm stuck with the wire. Yes. Just bear with me. That's what you do live and you are needed. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. 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 Yep. Okay. Bye. My apologies. Let me just get in and let me make sure that it's all working again. Let me check my voice. Sorry about that. It is Saturday. Yep, all good. It's all good. Yes, so where was I? So that PreSonus Studio Live 16, which Andy says he's got one as well, and it's great. I'm hoping that that will actually replace even my control surface there, which is, this is the MAGIX Control Universal Pro. You can probably just see it there. Oops, oops. Oh, wires are all stuck everywhere. There we go. So that's my MAGIX control that I use. So it's gonna replace that, as well as my audio interfaces. But it's nothing urgent for that. But I gotta see. At the moment, I've got everything that I need to record a band here. I use AudioBox 1818 VSL, which is 8 input microphone input and 8 outputs that I can use. I can even add that to another audio interface and have 16 input already. So unless I really want to get the Studio Live 16 so I can have more room and work with just that, that will happen probably end of the year. Maybe next Christmas I might give that myself as a present. Yeah, other than that, yeah, I've got everything that I need in the studio at the moment to create music. So there's quite a few things booked. Let me see. Here we go. Oh, see that note there? It goes all the way down. Yeah, where is it? There. Those are my bookings. To make sure that I write down all the bookings and scheduled bookings that going to be recording in here. That doesn't include all of the mixing projects that I have and mastering projects, which I only have one mastering project that I got to do. Yeah, other than that, yeah, pretty busy. Anyway, enough about me. I need to know more about you guys. Gee, let me see. I need to go back and see, where are we? The next questions. If you have just joined in, this is live streaming from my studio and using my new, well, no, my mobile phone and a tight clip microphone to broadcast so that it's nice and clear. I've read that one. Okay. Would you recommend recording vocals without a pop filter? If so, how would you go about that? Probably not. There may be some occasions where you want to record without pop filter, but at least use the sponge that goes on top of the microphone if you got one. Like, let me give you an example. So this is a microphone that I use for all my narration. It's not connected at the moment, and this is a condenser microphone, so it's quite sensitive. This is the ISK BM 900. and I don't have a pop filter in front of it, but I definitely use the sponge. That still does the same job of removing all the pops. And without it, no matter what you do, how you move, the explosives, the plosives will actually still sound, because it's movement of air, and air rushing through from the diaphragm will actually cause that plosives. So really you should, by minimal, have the sponge on the microphone. If you're using dynamic microphones, they're a bit less sensitive, so you might be able to get away without the sponge by having a little bit of distance away them. And most of those microphones, like let's say SM57 or SM58, as that comes to mind, which I use, they're inside the actual the mesh, wire mesh, there is a sponge inside it, which cuts down lots of those plosives, the P's and the T's, and so yeah, I hope that answers it. Without it, we will have lots of times have that the P's and the T's just explode. You can do maybe high pass filter, but that gets rid of all the low frequencies. You can still hear the plosive, but not as loud. But yeah, so hope that answers that question. You could timestamp the info covered in the live stream below the video or on screen. Yeah, I guess I used to do sort of in the description when I did live stream and did archived it for later viewing, and I used to go and watch it again, and then write down the times for a certain topic that I talked about, and then put it in the description again. Still, so we will see how we go. We'll see how we go. See how it turns up. I might be able to do that. But now that the quality of the video is better than what it used to be, and it is bearable to watch, then yeah. And I think Watchman said, if you really don't have the money to actually buy a pop filter, even though they're about $10, $20, you can always get your girlfriend's pantyhose around the coat hanger, and you can use that. And if you don't have a girlfriend, use your mom's. Any which way to stop those air movements. And Watchman says that talking about I believe the Studio Live 16. That's what stopped me from going PreSonus mixer. No way to control the AW. So yeah, hopefully by February they should actually have that out, so that everything will be in the one. Once you got you will have 16 microphones for the Studio Live 16, so you can plug everything in there, have the built-in fat channel, which is gate, compression, EQ. You can do pre or post, so you can actually record it with those fat channel settings into Studio One, or just record directly, however you like it. And then you can feed all those, because it will become a surface control. That means you've got 16 motorized faders to play around with. So if you've got, let's say, lots of tracks, and then you group them into buses, then you can assign those within Studio Live 16. There's a button there you can you select, and it goes into buses, and then you're actually controlling the buses of automation and mixing it that way as well. So it's got lots of features in there, like multiple outputs. So if you've got a drummer who really likes to hear their drum really loud on their headphones, but the vocalist doesn't want to hear any drums or whatever, and they want to hear their voice louder, you can actually have, because you've got 16 outputs, you can actually have technically 8 individual stereo outputs going into maybe headphone amplifiers and driving those headphones to the group recording. So if they are recording obviously together, so you can do a whole heap once you've got everything there. So it's definitely worth the money that you pay for Studio Live. They are just under $3,000 Australian for the 16 channel. Last week or the week before, I did go and at the music center, and then they had one there, and I did play around with it. It feels really nice. The faders are really smooth, and you know, the options and functionalities in them definitely does everything. And once the DAW functionality comes in, it'll just be do everything basically. Yes. And Billy Blaze say, hey, what's up, little drummer boy? I'm not a drummer. I will definitely learn to play the basics for drums, so that way I can tune drums, know how to tune it, learn about all of that, because depending on different songs, you might want to tune the drum to the frequencies of the scale of the song as well. So once I learn those sort of things, I'll be able to help the drummer and know what he's talking about when he's trying to adjust it, when he wants to do things, and so on. And the whole idea of me having you know, a drum set here, so that drummers don't have to carry their own drums unless they really want to have a particular sound. And plus, it's like having all of the things that a musician would want to come in here to record, because a lot of musicians, singer-songwriters will actually play drums, will play the guitar, the bass guitar, and play some keyboard as well. So they are able to just come in here, choose the instruments, and then be able to record it. And that's the whole idea of this room. And at the same time, I mean, not to forgetting me, if I want to record live drums, live beats, you know, including, let's say if I've got you know, drum samples that's being played, I want to add some lively feel to it, whether to the rolls or the beginning or the end, and those sort of things, I'll be able to do that as well. And that's the whole idea. So everything is here ready for any musician to come in and just record their music. Yeah, it's pretty good. And if you have just joined in, welcome. This is a live event coming from Studio 9. I'm your host, Vache, and I'm answering lots of questions. And I hope everybody is having fun as well. Where do we got? Oh, gee, there's been lots of comments, and I'm blabbing on for no reason. We have Jam and Jay. Hello from Chicago. PreSonus user for 7 years. Great DAW. First time here. Well, welcome. I've been with PreSonus for quite some time as well. Probably about 10 years, maybe more. 12 or 13, because my first PreSonus gear was their Firewire 13 something. I can't even remember. It was like 2 input, 2 output, sort of a Firewire audio interface that I had. And I think Studio 1 version 1 that came with it. So yes, welcome, and I hope you are enjoying. Watchman for you. I have M Audio Project Mix IO that the chip died in. I miss it. Oh dear. That's a Firewire, isn't it? Yes. Now most of those audio interfaces using the Firewire, they use a Texas Instrument chip, and they are available. I do have a video where I actually repaired a Motu Traveler audio interface, which has a Firewire chip in it, including the Focusrite as well. They all have the same chip, and I do have the instructions and I think a link where you can actually buy the chip as well. Obviously, being a surface mount chip, it's not easy to replace, but if you watch the video, it might give you some idea, because that video covers my friend actually removing the chip with a hot air gun and replacing it, and it actually worked. So that might give you help. So just go to my channel. There is a video how to repair the Moto Traveler, and I'm sure it's probably the same chip. And they're not expensive as well. They're about probably $10 or $20 for two of them. They come in pairs. So yes, I hope that will help you, because I did have Project Mix that my friends got and still works. Christopher says, I use Apollo Mac Twin Duo with Logic Pro. Yeah, I had Mac at some time. I don't have Mac anymore. It's sitting in my office, in my house. Just doesn't get turned on. But yeah, I haven't played around much with Logic Pro. I'm sure it's really good. Yeah, you can do quite a lot. GarageBand, you know, sort of the pro version of GarageBand, I guess. And he says, thanks mate, I have to go. Hi and goodbye to everyone. Thanks Andy, thanks for coming in. All good. Let's continue on. Watchman for You says, I just got a Behringer X1622 mixer in today. I was going to use it to route and mix loopers and beat machines loopers as a scratch pad of sorts. I'm used to playing with others. Yeah, I'm not... Oh, okay, that's the Behringer X1622 mixer. Okay, I know which one it is. Congratulations, yes. I've got one of those sitting somewhere at the back as well. Not the same model. I think I've got the 1222. The 1222, that's right. I use it for live. Okay, we also have Shed says, Happy New Year. Alejandro says, hi. Hi, Alejandro and Shed. Alejandro asks, what is better, start the music and then the lyrics, or vice versa? It's all personal. When you are doing, if you're a singer-songwriter, most people will actually strum their guitar, or like me, if I'm on the keyboard, I'll play the keyboard keys and play around at different scales and different chord progression. And when one progression sort of attracts me, and I continue with that and then develop a little bit further, and once I've got enough on there, I actually record that so I don't forget it, or write it down, the chords that I'm playing around with and the progression. Then from that, it depends what that chord progression, the feel that I get, the mood that I get, the inspiration that I get from that, then I actually start writing the lyrics, and then it just progresses from there. Couple years ago, I think it was a couple of years ago, where I was going to demonstrate my two microphones, the MXL 550 and 551, as an example. My son just came up with some chord progression on his guitar, because I wanted to demonstrate the 550 for singing vocals and the 551 to play the guitar. So my son came up with some chord progression on his guitar, and we had to listen, and I sat down thinking overnight, and just wake up the next morning. I said, yep, I've got the lyrics. I wrote them down, and then we did the recording. And now, just recently, probably about a few months ago, that same song, the lyrics slightly change and progress to a better, meaningful song. I recorded it in Studio One Prime as demonstration. So that's how it progressed. So if you go through my channel, you will actually see a demonstration of the song, Not Without You was the name of the song, that I first recorded with my son playing the guitar and me, and shown how we edited it and mixed it and make it sound as a guitar vocal using those two microphones, played and recorded at the same time. And then you can listen to my last one that we did with Greg coming in and playing the guitar, and a full arrangement of that song and how it actually progressed from a simple song to a full, commercial release song, which later on, most likely, I will actually finally release that song and put it on iTunes and Spotify. So for me, it's that way. But other people will actually write the lyrics depending on what mood they're in and what experience they had throughout that day or that week or that month, and they want to express that, so they will write the lyrics, and then once the lyrics is complete or the poem is finished, then they will sit down, either strum the guitar or play on the piano, and then work out the musical arrangement for it. So okay, let's continue on. I hope that answers that question. And I've got a couple comments saying thank you for your information. You guys are most welcome. That's the whole idea of the live streaming, so that I can answer questions of how I work, and then don't copy me, obviously. You need to find your own way, but this is what gives you an example of how other people work. There's like million videos about music recording on YouTube, but a lot of the times, including myself, when there's a live stream of someone who has recorded many times, or they're explaining certain product or certain way of doing something, I still watch them, because you always pick up something that you goes, oh, that's a clever way of doing it, even though you know the 99% of the rest of the information provided. But just that 1% extra information you gain, it adds to your knowledge, and then you can improve upon that. Vet Snipe, hello my Armenian friend, how are you? And I'm not sure what your question is. He says, I found PA4X does not have the third effect either. So is it still worth buying it? I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to answer that, because I don't have Korg PA4X to justify any answer. I only use 3X, and most of the time it's used as control keyboard, MIDI control keyboard for me to play things. And there are times when I might use the sounds in there, but other than that, that's what I use it for. Christopher says, how do you record vocals in your studio? What effects in your DAW? Good question. Well, you see right there, that's my vocal booth. A lot of times I may not use that, and it all depends on the vocalist, the vocal booth. If the vocalist is too loud, they've got loud voice, then I use that. But if they have a very soft voice, and depending on the song as well, if it's an intimate song, a slow intimate song, like a rock ballad and something like that, that's not there, because I want the microphone to also pick up the room ambience. The room is acoustically treated. There's lots of acoustic treatments everywhere, so there's not much reverb or echo. And if they are singing softly, then I remove that. Otherwise, it'd be too dead. The vocal would be just sound too dry, with no feelings, no space. But if the vocalist is loud, that will create a lot more acoustics in the room, sound bouncing around in the room. So by putting that thing that you see there, that will stop any sort of reflections from behind it. So I still get lots of room sound coming in from this part, okay, but nothing from the back. So that gets sound, direct sound, mixed sound coming from behind, but nothing from the back of the microphone, because that's what you want to avoid. So that's how I record in my studio. As far as effects, I normally use a touch of reverb, and that's pretty much it, just so that it blends in. And that I use one reverb as effects, where any other instrument, any other track instrument that requires some reverb, so that it feels all the instruments are in one room. So I've glued them all together, and that's the reverb that I used for the vocal as well. So everything goes into that effect. Unless I need something special, if I need something more sort of reverb, strong reverb effect or delay effect, then I will add those later on as other effects channels. But basically most of the time I will have one reverb, and then that gets fed into it, usually touch just to make it nice, give it a space, but not overwhelmed with too much reverb. Delay is, again, from genre to genre, which actually depends, and if it's special effects. Yeah, so that's what I use. As far as compression, all of my vocals will actually go through my PreSonus Studio Channel Tube preamp as an insert from audio interface, which I'll probably compress about 3 or 4 dB as it's coming in. That will get rid of all of the high peaks and give me nice smooth audio without compressing it too much. And in my channel chain, I guess I would have maybe 1 or 2 compression. I will have an EQ, the Pro EQ, to do low cut and get rid of some of the resonance from the microphone, which are in this room. And then from that, I'll have a compressor, maybe a LA2A compressor as a plug-in. And then I might EQ a little bit further after that if there's any EQing that needs to happen. And wow! I just got a message on my phone saying the song that I just submitted to DistroKid has been submitted to iTunes and Spotify and everything else. Woohoo! Soon a couple of my songs will be on iTunes. Anyway, let's go back to that. So yeah, and then there'll be another compressor to level everything up. One compressor will actually have slow attack to let most of the energy in and just capture the peaks, and then the next compressor will be a little bit faster to actually level everything out, with slow release to level everything out, and that brings out the vocalist right to the front. And that's how I normally do, and that's all I actually do. I don't go around with too many things on there. Where are we? Would you do some live stream recording a band? That's another question asked by Alejandro. Well, if the band is happy for me to do live stream, sure. I think it'll be good thing for me more than them. I guess for them as well. But it'll be a really good thing because people actually can hear them, see a live session. For sure, yes. If someone comes in, I'll definitely offer them live streaming from here because I do have the option, and I can connect the microphones as well, and so you can hear them playing here and how we go through into recording a live band. Why not? Yes. I'm just going through more of the chats, and we have Chad from Your Home Recording Studio. Welcome, Chad. I hope you're doing well. And I think just yesterday you did give away a Behringer audio interface. Well done, well done. You're a good lad. Good mate. Giving that away. I might have to organize another one. I've already given a couple audio interfaces away. I might have to organize another one. Yeah. I hope everybody appreciates when people give things away. Yeah. I should actually mention, I'm still giving away lots of add-ons for PreSonus Studio One Prime. So if you are Studio One Prime user, the free DAW, and you are limited, it's all limited. You can't have any VST instruments, and there's a couple other limitations. I do give away the Pro plugin, which will give you Pro EQ, the compressor, the gate, and the limiter, and something, I think, room reverb as well. If I'm not sure, there's like 5 different professional plugins that you won't need anything else past those. I also give away the Maytai synthesizer to add on to Prime, as well as Empire XT extensions. So if you're a guitar player, you get a whole heap more cabinets, you get a whole heap more speaker cabinets, heads and cabinets, obviously, and the pedals, you get all of them as well. So if you want to get those all for free, all you got to do is just go to my website, Recording Studio 9, and keep checking, because I will have a new one coming up probably Monday or Tuesday. So yeah, you can go there, and yeah, I will get the information from on my website, so you can win those all for free. So that way you get to make music a lot better for free. I'm just reading some more information here. Christopher says, I still have not treated my room, but need to. What did you go about it? Well, see those foams right there? Those things are, to what they are expensive. I only have few of them in there. And just last week, I built those things, those grey things. They work 10 times better than those foams, or this one here. Okay, they work much better than those, and they probably cost just as much, but they work 10 times better. I do have a video on my channel showing you how you can build them. It probably costs about $30 each or thereabouts, and you get, and I probably paid about $30 for that. There's 3 of them. As you can see, there's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so they probably cost about $30 or more, just a sponge, and then I still had to get the canvas and glued onto the canvas so I can move them if I need to. But those grey ones will work 10 times better, and they cost probably about the same, if not less. So they're not hard to build, they're quite easy to build, and just build those. And I've got 1, 2, 3. We have about 6 of them in this room. So, hope that answers that question. New Judah says, welcome, by the way. To all those people who have just joined in, welcome. This is a live stream from Recording Studio 9. I'm your host, Vatshay. There you go. Do you sum? No, I don't. But I do actually plan to build my own summing mixer. I'm just sort of... The limitation that I have at the moment is outputs from my audio interface. My current audio interface only has 8 outputs. And that gives me 4 stereo. But I lose the main. So I only technically have 3 stereo outputs. So that means 3 buses to sum. And that's not enough. I need at least 4 buses to sum. Stereo buses to sum. And what summing is, basically, from your DAW, you create buses, and then you output those buses. Instead of being summed in your DAW into your master bus, they basically get, each one of those buses get outputted into your outputs of your audio interface. And they go into an analog summing. It's a mixer that combines all your 4 or 5 stereo channels into one mono, and then that gets fed back into your audio interface. So instead of your DAW and digitally being summed inside your DAW, you're outputting it and you're summing it analog outside. Now a lot of people can actually claim that, you know, doing analog summing, it really improves your mixing, your final result being mixed. I can't really see that it's going to make that much of a difference. But I do plan, because my background is electronics, so I can build things electronic wise. I do have the schematic to actually design and build an analog summing mixer. So if I do, then I will actually decide, test it, and see if the result actually will make a difference or not. But in Studio One, there is a bus analog summing mixer emulation that you can add. I think it's CTC, something like that, which I don't have, that you can actually add, and they will actually simulate an analog signals being summed together. Because when you're mixing or adding 2 digital signals together, they're all digital. There's no there's no randomness as such. But in analog world, everything is random. Everything is different. So when you have those outputs from your DAW being fed into this summing mixer, and they're all by circuitry being joined and summed up together, not every component, not every resistor and capacitor are identical. They, even at 1% tolerance, they're not the same. So you get that analog summing or adding together, which on paper and theoretically should make it sound different, not necessarily better or drastically better, big difference, but it will make some difference. So we'll find out once I actually build one and give it a try. For sure, you need to subscribe to my channel to make sure that you actually find out about that one. So at the moment, to answer that, no, I don't do any analog summing. Okay. Watchman says, I use all 3 treatment is a key part of getting a great recording. Yes. Well, I don't actually have any curtains here or any carpets. I mean, carpet is on the floor, I don't have any sort of rugs on the walls, because it will deaden it too much. But I do have, I'm not sure you're going to be able to, let me see if my camera will fix it. Can you see that hook right over there on top of my, it's so hard. There we go. Yeah, that hook there. And there's another one on the other side. And that is designed, I do have a certain curtain is designed to actually be able to be put down to separate the two areas, the live area and the sort of control area, to deaden sound. So it's basically will halve the room by hanging a heavy curtain on those hooks to separate it, to give smaller area so that I don't get much vibrations. So yeah, hope that answers. Okay, well, Billy Blaze says, yep, me too. I have a whisper room, vocal booth with acoustic panels made for inside. Yeah, I don't have a vocal booth here other than just that thing there, and I explained the reasons why. But if you are within the same building as your house, so your studio is inside your house, in your bedroom or spare room that you've converted, vocal booth is probably a very good idea. That way, even if it's 2 meters by 3 meter sort of concealed room that you open the door and you get in, whether to record vocals or to put the guitar amp in there and then mic it, it definitely will help. It definitely will help. But over here, because I'm not attached to my house, I can be as loud as I need to be. It's whisper quiet in here. And yeah, I don't really need a vocal booth as such. If I'm doing narration by just using that vocal, private, small vocal booth, yeah, that thing there, then narration will definitely sound close enough and very dry. Okay, any more messages? Okay, good. So I'm all caught up. Yeah, Billy Blaze, I remember you mentioning it that you did have a booth. Says, I had to put a booth because the noise was just too much since I converted a room, not built a dedicated studio. Yes, that's exactly what I explained. What amps are you using for your bass and electric guitar? Oh, yes, amps. Well, I only have a couple amps here. I've got a PV amp. I think it's Viper. So that's probably the next thing. If I really need to upgrade anything in here, would be buying a good guitar amp. Other than that, I've got a Behringer bass amp as well. But most of the time, bass guitars, I just plug it directly into my audio interface because you don't even need a DI box and record it that way. But for guitars, I probably need to. If the guitar player that comes in want to bring their amp, then they're probably most welcome. But yeah, that's the only guitar amp I have. I don't have many guitar amps here. A couple of times they actually brought their their Fender they might have had, or I can't remember what other amp the guy brought in. Yeah. Yeah, I do overdubs in the control room with the artist, I have the most treatment in there. I use the living room to capture the drums and other instruments. Voice as scratch tracks. I keep the bass guitar. Yeah, you know, a lot of people will use their living room to play the drums, because with drums, if you have a nice room acoustics, you probably can use your living room to get that nice wide and great drums. And that's why my panels that you would have seen, well, pretty much every panel, these ones as well as these ones, they're all removable. So I remove them if I need that really stage drum sound. So we get nice room sound, even though the room is not that big. But if you want that some liveliness in there, I can remove those panels and it will become more lively. May I suggest the MPEG BA21 V2? It's an incredible bass amp for recording and live use. Yeah, as I mentioned, personally, I plug the bass guitar straight in to my interface, and I just use bass amp simulators to get the bass tone that I want. Even though I do have, I think, a 75 watt bass amp from Behringer. I think it's 75 watts. One of my videos I demonstrate playing it while I'm testing the room acoustics and soundproofing, and I've hardly ever used it. You know, it just sits there taking up space, because a lot of the time you don't want to mic a bass guitar. You know, there's not really much you need to do. So yeah. Yeah, amp sims, most definitely. I actually have quite a few amp sims. Obviously, that comes with Studio One Prime. Sorry, I should say, Christopher asked, have you tried amp sims? Yes, there's the Ampere XT in Studio One. I also have IK Multimedia amp simulators that I have. I also have a few others. I'm trying to remember what their names were. Bias amp. I don't have it on my laptop at the moment because it's on my main PC. I do have other amp simulators as well, and they're just fantastic. Yeah, definitely use amp sims. But for electric guitars, that's a different story. I do like to actually record it straight. Positive Grid. Yes, that's the one. Thank you, Christopher. Positive Grid. That's the one. Yeah, but if it's electric guitar, because the artists will have their own tone that they have got with their pedals and through their amp. So I try to record it using a microphone to record from the amp. There are some occasions where we don't go to the amp, but we use the output of the pedal board directly into my interface. So it still has all of its effects without the amp, because they said, oh no, the amp is fine, it makes no difference, or the amp doesn't sound as good as when we plug it in to get the right tone. So we plug it directly in that way, but I try to record from the amps for electric guitars. And acoustics, well, it's got to be microphones. Sometimes I will plug the acoustic guitar as well. If it's got a direct output, plug that in and record 2 tracks. So that way I have the acoustic guitar's microphone as well as its pickup. And then I can blend it in if I needed to get some of the transients and the brightness in there. Because pickups usually have much more higher frequency details than the microphone can. So yes. And Your Home Recording Studio says, I usually record bass direct as well, although even a cheap bass amp with a kick mic in front of it is surprisingly impressive if the mood strikes. Yes, I guess you can. I mean, when I'm recording a bass guitar with the amp, I've only done it once. I did use my kick drum mic, the JTS kick drum mic, to point to it, because we tried it with the 57, the SM57, and that didn't really turn out. Not much low end in there. So I said, oh, let's get the right microphone in. Some of the other condensers weren't good with the dynamics, but yeah, we definitely need a dynamic microphone like the kick drum mic. Thanks, Chad, for that. And Christopher says, I have started to mic the amps using Shure SM57. Yes. Watchman for You says, I hope my old PV bass cab is up to the Behringer amp 2.8 and 115 speakers. I like playing bass where you can feel it. Yes, yeah, for sure. I mean, next time I need to record bass, what I'm going to try, because a lot of the times the bass player will come in and we plug it in and get the headphones in, and then they'll just play the bass. But I guess I'm going to try to see if I'm going to get a better outcome with the bass player being plugged into the bass amp as well, even though we plug in directly. So we'll put a DI box and then we feed one to the bass amp and the other end to the audio interface. So even though I'll be recording direct sound, maybe having the guitar amp and not only hearing it, by feeling it as well because of the low frequencies, I wonder if the bass player will get into the mood, sort of more into the mood, and come up with a better sounding bass track. I'll give that a try. You never know. Because sometimes you really need to feel what you're playing, enjoy what you're playing. To get good outcome. Sorry guys, I'm trying to read all these comments at the same time and try to talk as well. Try the AKG D112 on bass cab. Yeah, I am, thanks for that, Watchman. I am thinking of upgrading my drum mic set. So I think Billy was suggesting to get Audix. I was thinking of Shure drum kit set. Then there's a few other ones as well. At the moment I've got JTS that I use, which is not bad. But Audix is quite expensive, so is Shure. Audix, if I buy a set, will cost me about just 5 mic sets. I think they're about $800-900. Shure is about the same price as well for 5 microphones. Yeah, I'll have to see. I'll have to justify. First, I got to make some money from the drum before I can spend more money buying more microphones. Because what I have at the moment is still sounds nice, clean, crisp, rounded. For even my crappy drums that I had before this, which I paid $100, $100 or $150 for it, still sounded okay, usable. Obviously these drums, my new Pearl drums, will sound much better. But yeah, I'll try not to get the gear acquisition syndrome. Too many of them. I got to make money first. Yes, Billy says Audix D6 many awards, but yes, it's pricey but unbeatable on kick and bass cabs. Yes, thanks Billy, I will definitely keep that in mind. Yeah, and I was looking for Shure one as well. And AKG is is another option which I've been looking at. So those are the three. If I ever upgrade, it's going to be a very tough decision to make. Your Home Recording Studio says D112 is a great kick mic. I've got the Audix D6, which I've been really happy with, and really mid-scooped, which works for kick. Great. Thank you. Hey, have you recorded your new Pearl kit yet? No, I have not recorded my new Pearl kit yet, but I will once I get it in tune. I don't have it in tune yet. I've got to learn how to tune it properly, but I'm going to give it a week or two before I actually do any recording with it. See how it actually sounds. Obviously, I need to learn the drum, and that's the reason why I would record. I will set up a full mic, just go there and then pretend to be a professional drummer, and then, you know, play the snares and the hi-hats and all of that, and record with the mic set that I have, and so that when someone comes in to record with it, I'll have everything set up. I'll know exactly how to tune each mic, and how far I need to be and which direction they need to be to get the best sound out of it. So we're not wasting time setting the mics up. I'll have it all set up in no time. You know, half an hour and the mics should be all set up. So yeah. And I think the other thing I need to do, I'll probably have to open up my kick drum front face back, because I've actually forgot to put in a couple of the pillows. So I got to put some pillows in there, because it's just going boom, 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 boom. It's not really going boom, boom. You know, it's going boom, boom. It's really funny kick. So I got to put some dampening in there to make sure it sounds nice. Okay, well, we're pretty much coming close to an end of my live stream. Have been really enjoying. And I hope you guys have been enjoying this live stream as well. It says Watchman says the D112 has a basketball bounce to it to my ears. I use two mics on a bass drum with a tunnel made from the cushions to place a condenser back in from the kick. D112 up close. Yeah, I mean, you can experiment with all of that. I've done a few experimentation. I've done some experimentation with my old drum, not with the new one. Obviously, I haven't even set up a new one. And that was the whole purpose of me purchasing that crappy old, well, I think it was called Tempo drum kit. I do have a video on my channel playing around with it, so that I can experiment and learn different positions of the kick drum mic, and putting some cushions in there with and without. I didn't even bother porting it, so I haven't actually cut any hole. I didn't experiment with that. Yeah, I'm not sure if I will be game enough to actually port the Pearl one. I might actually take it to the music shop and get them to cut it correctly, because I may not have the right tools. I don't know how to cut them. You know, nice smooth cut. So yeah, it's all about experimentation and finding the right tone that you want. There's no one right or wrong way of doing it. Billy Blaze says, I wonder if a different head would dampen some of the boominess. Yeah, not sure. Not sure. Yeah, I think definitely if I put in some cushions inside the kick drum, That will definitely make it sound better. Because I had the same thing with my old crappy tempo drum kit. It was really floppy and it's already crappy drum kit and sounded even worse. So after putting, I think, 2 cushions, I put it in there, and then after that the kick was just really thumping, and even recording just really quick setup and record, it made it really nice and punchy. So it was good. Yes, I take the front head off, but I would port it at least. Yeah. Yeah. First, I will experiment with just having the cushions in there, Watchman, and see what tonality I will be getting. And then if I'm happy with it, I'll keep it that way. And later on, if I want to experiment with porting it so that you don't get that boominess and the wobbliness sound, because air will be being pushed out rather than but sort of skins vibrating at the resonance, it definitely might get a nice, more punchy sound. Billy Blaze says, love your videos, Vache. It's always cool seeing your growth, my friend, and building dreams. Yes, dreams are things that don't happen overnight. It took me 30 years, 25 to 30 years to have this dream, and a lot of sacrifices in between as well. So yes, as I mentioned in my previous video, if you put your mind to it, if you actually dream about it, you would definitely get what you want. You just have to be persistent with it and never give up. You know, I had so many drawbacks in the past, and even still now, that you know, I get drawbacks, but that doesn't stop me. I'll just keep doing what I like to do and just keep pursuing what I do to be good at it. You know, practice, 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 and we'll get good. Yes. Christopher says, drums to me are alien. I am using Easy Drummer 2 for ease of use. Why not? Yes. You don't have to have an acoustic drum or even drum set to actually create the music. Surely that's why there are Easy Drummer 2, which I don't have. I should. That's on my next to buy list. But it's all about, for me, I want to actually record live drums because I believe live instruments are the core of emotions being passed on as a musician. You know, you can get all this perfectly in tune and timed drum sound from Easy Drummer, which is all good. But those small imperfections when a drummer is playing is what I'm after. You know, as a musician myself, you know, I like those tiny imperfections in there. And in the drummer, when they're playing the drum, they are expressing their musical ability. They are telling a story from when they're hitting each drum. They're doing the roll or whatever. Same goes with the guitar. You know, you can get really, really, really authentic sounding VSDI instruments of guitars, acoustic, electric, bass, and ample sound is one good example of it. They just sound phenomenal, but it's not the same as me playing guitar with, you know, horrible notes and horrible sounding, but that is my feeling passing on. And if it's a professional guitar player, then they are telling their life story through that instrument, and that is one of the most important things that I believe as a musician and recording artist that really need to be in place. There's a time and a place for EDM, you know, electronic dance music or any music which are electronically made. You know, they're different genres and different things. But obviously there's also a time and a place for real acoustic drums, real feelings passed on from the musician telling their story to the world. So that's how I see it. With any instrument, playing the piano or the guitar or the violin or trombone or any other instruments, including the drums and the percussions. So that's what makes a difference for me, and I hope to a lot of people as well. Billy Blaze says, I love Easy Drummer 2, works for me since I am a solo artist. Yes, for sure. And Watchman for You says, also try putting the foam used around doors and windows inside the drum shells. Sticky side to the shell and let the edge of the foam to touch the heads. On all drums, maybe not the snare, but on all tom. Foam used around doors and windows inside the drum shells. Sticky side to the shell. So I guess those weather protecting or weather guarding window foam things, is that probably that's what you're talking about. Anyway, I'll read that later on and see what you mean. Your home recording studio says, certainly nothing wrong with sample drums in a home studio, but geez, I miss my acoustic kit. There's just something inimitable about a real drum kit. I know how you feel. I know how you feel, Chad. Did you actually get rid of your acoustic kit, or just in storage at the moment because you don't have the space in your new home? So anyway, yes, cheap roll of foam. Yep. Okay, I think I know what you mean. Just sort of airtight sealing around the rims. Okay, makes sense. Yep. All good. Okay, so time for me now to head out, and because it's coming up to another 5 minutes, and I should wrap this up so that I've got things to do. It is Saturday, so this has been really, really, really great to see a lot of my YouTube subscribers on the chat, including Watchman, Billy Blaze, and Chad from Your Home Recording Studio, and all the other guys. Thank you so much. This has been really, really fantastic. I was looking forward to this live stream because I know you guys, you're on the other side of the planet, and daytime and nighttime, it doesn't work well. So I really wanted to actually thank you so much for being here. It really means a lot to me. And talking to you and chatting to you and sharing all this information between us guys as well, and all tricks and ideas and ways to do things. It's been fantastic. So I hope to catch up with you all guys soon again. Later on today, when I return to the studio, because I got to head out now. When I return to the studio, I will have the final video out on my drum kit, being all set up, ready to go. I hope you guys watch that as well. And I've got a few other videos which I've recorded it. I just need to edit and put it out there. Hopefully I'll have the time in the next couple of days. Christopher says, cheers. Thank you, Christopher, for being here. Billy Blaze, great seeing you. Vache, thanks for this. Always nice to see you, how you are doing, and your smiling face. Thank you. Smile, and the whole world smiles with you. That's the whole idea. Chat says, I still have the kit. It's in a sad pile in the basement at the moment. Yeah, that's okay. I'll try not to play too much on my drums so that you don't feel depressed and missed out. Yeah, I'm sorry, Chad. I really am. I know how you feel. It is really hard when you lose an instrument which has been part of you. But have no fear, because good times are always there. You know, they'll come. There'll come the day where you unpack the whole drum kit again and then just hit the first snare hit again and just go for it. It'll be like riding a bicycle as well anyway. I hope to see that soon. And for everybody else, thank you guys for all the information, and I will talk to you very soon. And from me and Studio 9 here from Sydney, Australia, I wish you all the best. Till next time. I'll try to actually, before I say, I'll try to actually make probably live streams maybe once a month, an event, so we get to share more information, because this way I'll be talking about a topic, and then you guys will give me another tip, an idea, and we can exchange this information. It's really, really important to exchange information and learn from each other, because I'm not just here to tell you about my experiences. I'm also here to read your comments and ideas and learn from you guys as well, because everybody is learning. That's how it is. And finally, last comment. The Watchman for You says, I lost my whole studio and most instruments when I was divorced. She took it all, almost. It took years to build everything back up. Man, I do feel sorry for you. I do feel sorry for you. But things in life do happen. I guess in those sort of situations, in those sort of circumstances, everything needs to be divided into half. And if musical instruments are the only thing that you have, yeah, life goes on. I guess you will lose and you got to build it up again. But I hope everything works out, or has worked out since as well. Wish you all the best. Thank you, everybody, and have a fantastic, fantastic time. And now I need to learn how to go off. There we go. See you guys.